Okay. All right. So today I wanted to talk about a couple of topics. I wanted to talk about amnesia and installing triggers. And there's some crossover here, and we can discuss that. So, amnesia. Now, in the old days, and I'm talking back in the 1800s, when the hypnotists and the mesmerists were working, um, something used to happen that doesn't happen as often nowadays, and that is that when people got hypnotized or mesmerized, they had spontaneous amnesia. That is to say, they came out of the trance and had no idea that any time had passed, had no idea what had happened during the, hey, Pradeep, wonderful. Haven't seen you in a long time either, Rich. All right. So anyway, they had no idea what had happened during the hour that they were in trance, and this was common, and people kind of expected that that was going to happen when they went into hypnosis. And I'm told that even as late as the 1940s and 1950s, where there was an expectation that when you got hypnotized, you wouldn't remember the session, many people didn't remember their session. They had spontaneous amnesia. And when I say spontaneous amnesia, I mean it's not that the hypnotist said, you will not remember that I gave you this suggestion. That's different. We're talking spontaneous amnesia. Hello, Tim. They they came out and boom, their mind was blank. They could not remember anything about the session. And some hypnotists, I talked with Larry Ellman about this, and I guess his father um, had told him that that was the impression way back in the 40s and 50s, that you expected to have amnesia, and so they did. Now, this does not necessarily happen as often as it did back in the 40s and earlier. Nowadays, unless you suggest amnesia, the vast majority of clients and subjects in a hypnosis show or a demonstration will remember just about everything that happened during the session. Maybe because I don't know. I don't think people are that different now, but maybe they just don't have that expectation that they're going to have amnesia. Now, amnesia can be quite useful, and this concept most people attribute to Milton Erickson, and the idea being that what would happen, say, if you suggested to somebody that they no longer crave chocolate. As a matter of fact, that chocolate, the idea of chocolate, even the idea of chocolate, just kind of grosses them out now. You know, and just tired of it. Maybe it's you used to enjoy it when you were a kid and when you were a young adult, but I don't know. It just tastes. It's not as good now, and you know, people their dietary habits change over their life. So what about this? So you suggest that to a person in trance, and then you give them amnesia for that suggestion. And this is a very powerful concept, because think about this. If you, let's say, if you thought to yourself, you know, I feel like I feel like having some ice cream. Well, and you got that urge, and or cigarette. You've got that urge and you want to do it, right? But yeah, it's hard to fight, right? It's hard to fight because darn it, you want that ice cream, and but now if the hypnotist suggested that, I'm sorry, let me back this up. All right, let's say you decided that ice cream no longer tastes as good as it used to. Okay, and someone offers you ice cream and you say, no, no thanks, I just don't like it as much as I used to. Okay, so what if the hypnotist suggested to you that that would be your opinion, that ice cream just wouldn't taste as good as it used to taste? But then the hypnotist gave you amnesia, all right? Amnesia for that suggestion. So then someone offers you ice cream and you think to yourself, think so. It just doesn't appeal to me right now. How can you fight that? Now, if you knew the hypnotist gave you that suggestion, then maybe you could fight it off and go ahead and have that ice cream. But if you think it's your own thought, I just don't feel like having ice cream anymore, or ice cream just doesn't appeal to me as it used to, how are you going to fight that? So that is the beauty of giving amnesia for a suggestion. Because if you think it's your own thought, how are you going to fight it? So it's a very interesting concept, and many people attribute this sort of technique to Milton Erickson. I don't know if Erickson invented it or if he got it from someone else, but anyway, it's a pretty cool technique. And also, it can be quite useful when you're doing demonstrational hypnosis or when you're doing stage hypnosis, because how are they going to fight your suggestion if they don't even remember that you gave it to them and they think it's their own suggestion? How are you going to fight that? They can't. So that's the beauty of something like this. Now, there are different ways to get amnesia. I mean, yes, occasionally it will be spontaneous amnesia, and but that doesn't happen very often. But you can suggest amnesia. You can give a suggestion. For instance, cigarettes taste like burning rubber. Okay, you give that suggestion, and you can say, "You will not remember that I gave you this suggestion. You will not remember." So you give them two suggestions. One, that cigarettes taste bad, and two, that they won't remember that you gave them the suggestion. And that makes it even more powerful. So now, how long is that going to last? We never know. Amnesia can last a long time, or it can last just a short period of time, or it may not take at all. It's hard to get amnesia, okay? And I'll talk a little bit more about getting that. So anyway, so you can directly suggest to the person that they will not remember that you gave them the suggestion, or they will not remember the hypnosis session. You can do that. And if they're a deep subject, that may very well take, and it could be useful. Now, there are other ways to get it. Erickson, I'm trying to think. Oh, yeah, now I don't know if this is Erickson or if this was Bandler and Grinder. The bit about, the phrase about, perhaps you'll remember to forget what we talked about, and perhaps you'll forget to remember what we talk about. And this, just this kind of artful language, that, and that can be good. One of my friends, Keith Livingston, told me an interesting one. He said that what he likes to do is, when he's got trance and he's got a good deep trance, he'll say, he'll start a story, or even sometimes he'll do this even before the session. He'll say, well, yeah, the other day I was out shopping for a car, and boy, I hate shopping for cars. It's really bad. You got to deal with the salespeople, and they're trying to sell you extras, and they're trying to sell financing and everything. But anyway, but we don't have to worry about that. And then he goes ahead and does the hypnosis, and he does the deepening, and he does the suggestions, and then he emerges the person. And as they're coming out of trance, he says, and I guess the main issue is dealing with the salespeople, because nobody likes to be sold. You just want to find a car that you like. You know what I mean. And so what he's done is he's begun the story, then he's done the session, and then he's continued the story after the session, and it tends to erase what happened in the middle. And I haven't played with this very much, but one of the many things that I'd like to play with. So yeah, it has the tendency to erase what happened in the middle. And so you got the beginning of the story, and then the end of the story, and you tend to forget what happened in the session. So that's another interesting way to do it. Nicole's here. Nicole sent me a video of working with one of her students, which was kind of funny. And in addition to, did I want to talk about this here, or did I want to talk about this when I get to triggers? No, I think I want to talk about that with triggers. So Nicole, hang in there because I was gonna credit you. Okay, now amnesia. Amnesia scares some people, and it really shouldn't, because I mean, people look at it and they think, well, maybe the hypnotist could do or say something bad and cover it up with amnesia. And the thing is that amnesia, it doesn't always take, and it doesn't last. It doesn't last forever. Okay, so if you said something that you shouldn't have said, and then you try to give amnesia to cover your tracks, that's not necessarily going to work. And I like this because this is actually a kind of a safety valve, right? Because now if somebody tried something that they shouldn't be doing, um, they're going to get caught, because the amnesia is not going to last forever. We usually only need it to last for a little while during a show or during a demonstration. But so I mean, that's one of the safe things about hypnosis, is that amnesia, you can't count on it taking, and you can't count on it taking very long to wear off. So that's a good thing. I like that. And then the final thing I wanted to say about amnesia was that only about 20% of the people that you hypnotize, you're going to be able to use amnesia with. And these are people we call somnambulists. About 20% of the population are somnambulists. And actually, amnesia is one of the things that we test for when we're testing for depth of trance. And if we use the Aaron scale, 1 through 6, Aaron's level 4, the way we define Aaron's level 4, or somnambulism, or profound somnambulism, is, can they get amnesia? Can you get them to forget their name? Can you get them to forget a number? So that is, so only about 20% of the people are going to be able to achieve amnesia, and these are the people we call somnambulists. Okay, so that's enough about amnesia for now. Now I want to talk a little bit about triggers. Okay, so my news feed, every time a news story comes out about hypnosis, it comes in my news feed. And I got this one about a Canadian television commercial about Scotty's tissues. I don't remember what the term is, but sometimes a product will just become the generic name for a thing. Like we always say Kleenex, because Kleenex was the super popular, still is super popular brand of tissues. So anyway, the company that makes their competitors, Scotty's, came up with a commercial. And in the commercial, these two guys are sitting in the house, and one of them sneezes, and the other guy spontaneously goes, Scotty's. And the guy says, hey, that's right, you finally remembered the name. It's Scotty's. And he pats the box, And the guy says, yeah, well, I saw a hypnotist. And he installed a trigger so that every time somebody sneezes, I say Scotty's. And so then they show him in a courtroom, and somebody sneezes, and he shouts out, Scotty did it, or whatever, and implicates somebody else in the trial. And then they're in a bear cave, and the bear is asleep, and they want to be quiet, but then somebody sneezes, and he can't help himself, and he goes, Scotty's, and he shouts Scotty's. And then the next scene, you see him with a neck brace and a broken arm, and says, how's that trigger working? He says, oh, pretty well. Ouch. So anyway, it was kind of cute. But all right, so what is a trigger? All right, we use this a lot in demonstrational hypnosis and stage hypnosis. And the way you do it, and this is obvious, but maybe some people need a refresher. Okay, so you hypnotize and you deepen the trance, and you tell them that whenever A happens, you will do B. Like for instance, whenever you hear a sneeze, you will say Scotty's. You will be compelled. You won't be able to help yourself. Now, going back to amnesia, it could be made stronger if you just gave them amnesia and said, you won't know that I gave you the suggestion, but you will be guided by it. And Ellen actually used that phrase. You will not, you may not consciously remember the suggestion, but you will be guided by it. So words to that effect. Anyway, that could make the trigger even more, even stronger. So yeah, so you hypnotize, you deepen, you say, whenever this happens, you will do this. And we use this in the shows. Like, for instance, before you emerge the committee and send them back to their seats, you say, whenever I use the word hypnosis, whenever you hear the word hypnosis, you will be compelled to jump up and shout, the hypnotist is a fraud, or something like that. And then you send them back to their seats and you give your final talk and you say, well, I hope you really enjoyed this hypnosis show, and several of them jump up and yell, the hypnotist is a fraud, or something like that. So that's a typical example of a trigger that we use in demonstrational and stage hypnosis. Okay, so I wanted to talk about Nicole. What Nicole did with one of her students, and she sent me the video of this, but it was in German. But she gave me subtitles, so that helped. Is she gave her student a trigger that whenever A happens, he will respond by trying to get an autograph from one of the other students. And but Nicole added something in that I thought was quite clever. She said, and it will make you very happy that you can make this request. So she sort of supercharged the trigger. So I thought that was very clever. So well done, Nicole. Let's see, what else do I want to say about this? Okay, yeah, and another way we'll sometimes use this in demonstrational hypnosis. Sometimes we'll say to a smoker that cigarettes taste like burning rubber, and that's just the trigger. When you light a cigarette and you inhale, that's the trigger, and that's when you taste burning rubber. And a trigger is it's just a suggestion. Okay, just a suggestion. And then in the comments section, I will post a link to the video of the Canadian commercial, because it's quite funny. And yeah, so what else did I want to tell you about? Oh, okay, just a quick review. So what I've got going on now, next month, like about 10 days from now, I'm going to be taking off for Boston. I'm driving up to Marlborough, Massachusetts for the National Guild of Hypnotists convention or conference, educational conference. And I'll be doing 2 presentations, one on instant inductions, which I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be working with Hans Rudy Vip. So he and I are gonna join. We did the same thing last year. We taught it together. It was a lot of fun. So and then I'm also teaching a lecture on the Dave Ellman induction. And then what else have I got? In September, I'm going to be teaching 2 classes in Germany, in Magdeburg, and that'll be my last classes in Germany. I've been going there for about 6 years now, and so I'm teaching 2 classes in Magdeburg, and the second one is going to be my last class there. So if you want to see me in Germany, you got to look for Norbert Pritz. Norbert Pritz. He is the organizer, and Norbert runs the classes there, so you have to check that out if you want to see me in Germany. And then finally, it's been about 6 years since I've taught a class in the United States, an instant and rapid hypnosis class in the U.S. I don't know, I've been teaching in Europe, but I just have not taught in the States, and I don't know why, but I just haven't. So anyway, it's possible I may be teaching a class on instant and rapid hypnosis in January, and I'll get you more details when they become available, and I'll be yeah, it'll be announced in the newsletter. Okay, so I want to thank you all for tuning in, and I don't even know how long we went. Oh, we only went 20 minutes. That's not bad. Okay, so I'll give you back the rest of your day. You guys have fun. Thank you again for tuning in. And as always, if anyone has any questions, you can always reach me at via email at sean@worldsfastesthypnotist.com, and I look forward to talking with you. So thank you all. All right, bye bye. How do I gotta find out how to end this thing? Good grief.
Where's the off switch?
Yeah, I don't know. It's here somewhere. I could turn the computer off, but I don't think that's a good way to do it.
That's a little drastic.
My wife is laughing at me right now because I don't know how to do this. Well, so how's your day going? Oh, here we go. There's a button over here. See you guys.